Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Kabar Harrison. Hey, and I had been doing Facebook Lives here recently, but just doing something a little different tonight. Um, for those of you that don't know, my name is Jacqueline Kabar Harrison. I am a women's empowerment and self-esteem coach for women of color, and the name of my consulting agency is called Realizing Your Potential. LLC. And my website is realizingyourpotential123.com. What I wanted to talk about tonight is for those of you that don't know me or don't know anything about me, what I do is I work with women of color, and I help them to realize their potential through self-esteem building, purposefulness, and accountability. So, what I wanted to touch base on tonight is the purposefulness part. And the reason I want to mention that is because I want to elaborate a little bit more on that, right? So, of course, purposefulness is what makes you feel purposeful in life, right? What makes you feel inspired? What makes you feel good? What makes you light up? What would you do if you were getting very, very, very little money or no money at all? What would you do? Or if money was no issue, let's just say. Now, how that relates to self esteem is that one of the ways that I help women to increase their self esteem, to be able to believe in themselves 100%, right? And trust in their self and their abilities to manifest abundance in their life, to be able to set a goal for yourself and know that you're going to achieve it, and know that you have all of the skills that you need inside of you in order to be able to see that process to the end, right? Which is actually obtaining whatever goal or goals that you are setting for yourself. Okay. So one of the reasons is that I talk a lot about purposefulness is that if you have something that you feel extremely passionate about, right? You just love doing it. You get lost in it. Wouldn't that be great to actually take that idea or whatever that is that you do and be able to make money out of it, or be able to obtain people to pay you to do that or to provide that particular service? Wouldn't that just be excellent? To be able to get paid for something that you love doing, right? So that was one of the reasons behind realizing your potential, is that I wanted women, or I want to help women to realize their full potential, right? Meaning that I want them to realize their full potential and be able to figure out or ignite that passion within them. And a lot of times it's just a matter of reconnecting with whatever that passion is, whatever brings you joy. And oftentimes it's something that if we don't do it regularly, it's something that for whatever reason along the way, maybe we got married, maybe we had children, maybe we were going to college, maybe we had a particular very demanding job, let's just say. And whatever that passion of ours is, we just kind of took it, sat it in the closet on the shelf, and just began putting other stuff into that closet on that same shelf. And eventually, our passion that we sat in there just gets pushed further back, further back, further back, right? Till it's at the back of the closet. And we kind of forget about it. So that's part of what I do. I help women to reignite that passion, to go in that closet and actually take it out and start doing it, right? That's part of self love, self care, which also is a huge part of one's self esteem. Now, for me, igniting my passion, or one of my passions, right? Well, one of my passions has always been dance. I've always loved to dance. And even as a little girl, I took ballet, I took tap, I took jazz, I took contemporary, you name it. I took it, right? And I even took gymnastics. And I always loved to dance, and I continue to love to dance up through middle school, high school, even into my early 20s. So in my mid 20s, I was in college and I became introduced to African dance. I believe my first African dance class was an Afro Haitian class. And I remember taking this class and I was like blown away by the live drumming. I had never danced to live drumming before. I had never danced to drum music. I hadn't even been introduced to that. And it just ignited something in me. It like lit a spark within me. It was like dance on crack. I'd always liked to dance. I knew that. But African dance, that was something totally different, right? So after that, I began to seek out different African dance classes. And it was just something about going into a class, and it's like four, five, six drummers live drumming in the class. And you dance to that music. And it was like you didn't have one without the other, right? And for me, and for many people that do African dance and drum, the dance is the music coming to life, right? Because it's almost like one doesn't exist without the other. You know what I mean? They both have their purpose and their place, but they go together. They complement each other. And I mean, I get so excited. And it's like, I remember when I started going to class, I just wanted more, I wanted more, I wanted more. I just wanted to do it more, more, more. And it was interesting because I've always considered myself a dancer, but in African dance class, it was like I had two left feet, right? And I was so self-conscious, and so embarrassed, and I didn't want anyone to look at me. And for those of you that know something about African dance, or if you don't, I'll share it with you. But when you dance, you have to dance in front of the drummers. Sometimes you may be by yourself. Sometimes it may be you or one or two other women, but you're doing the same dance, right? But it was that whole thing of like, oh, I'm in the spotlight, I'm in the spotlight. And I never liked being in the spotlight because I never wanted to be seen. I just kind of wanted to just, kind of hide in the back. Didn't want a lot of people to see me because, of course, if people see you, you can be judged, right? People can make comments. You know, it's putting yourself out there, which is what I didn't want to do. So it was igniting or further igniting a passion in me. But what also was cool about it, well, a couple of things, is that it helped me to grow as a person, right? It took me outside of my comfort zone. Because, like I said, I felt like I had two left feet because I wasn't used to dancing. I just wasn't used to it. I didn't even understand the music initially, much less the movements, much less the cultural piece behind it, like why the dance was being done. Oftentimes, you sing when you dance. Obviously, they're not singing in English; they're singing in the language of whatever ethnic group that this particular dance comes from. So it was a lot going on at one time that you were expected to do and be able to keep up, stay within the rhythm, learn the choreography, know how to transition from one move to the next. And also dancing with your partners, if you will, if you weren't dancing by yourself. Or if you were dancing by yourself, you had to, again, pay attention to the drummers, you know, or in the dance style that I became very accustomed to, that I fell in love with, was Sabah, right? And it's spelled Sabar. And it is from the Wolof people of Senegal. And with that particular dance, it's a conversation between the drummer and the dancer, right? And yes, you have to dance within the rhythm and do particular dances that go with that rhythm also. But in addition to that, it's the drummer's responsibility to watch you and to complement whatever movements you're doing, right? So for a person who always wanted to hide in the back and really didn't want to be looked at, that was like, ooh, that was just a lot for me, right? because it's like I'm out there, I'm dancing, I'm trying to remember what I'm doing, and if I'm dancing on the right rhythm. And then on top of all of those factors, I got the drummer looking at me, trying to compliment, or not trying, but complimenting what I'm doing. So I'm saying all that to say, and I'm sharing that with you guys because African dance has been a huge part of my life. Huge part of my life since like 1994. So that's a very long relationship that I've had. Uh-oh, somebody's sending me a couple of alerts. Let me turn these down. That's been a huge, huge relationship that I've had. And my reason in mentioning that to you guys is because I think that part of that is how you build your self-esteem. And the part of that I'm talking about, I'm just turning my tablets and everything down. And the part of that I'm talking about is taking yourself outside of your comfort zone. Well, I kind of like that extra light. Well, maybe not. It's taking yourself outside of your comfort zone. And I think when you take yourself outside of your comfort zone, that's when the learning begins because you begin to trust in yourself that you can do it, right? Not only can I do it, maybe I can do it, but you know you can do it. With practice, consistency, and dedication, you can do it. I knew after a while, I knew that with practice, dedication, and consistency, that I was going to learn African dance. Not everything, because it's a lifelong process, right? And there's always something new to learn. But I knew that whatever I wanted to learn, if I was taught it, I could practice it and I would become better and better and better and even make it my own, right? So that's why I think it's extremely important to come outside of your comfort zone. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're not going to learn. You're not going to grow. You're not going to develop a further or deeper belief in yourself and your abilities, right? So for me, that was the start of it all for me. That was the start of me starting to rebuild my confidence in myself. And that's where it all started from. And I got stronger and stronger and stronger, right? It didn't happen overnight. I'm not going to tell y'all it happened overnight. It did not. It didn't. At the time, I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even realize the importance of it at the time. But now, looking back on it, I see it is so clear. It is so crystal clear to me. And that's why in my different coaching programs, whether it be my group programs, my individual coaching sessions, I stress that. I cannot stress that enough. It's going outside of your comfort zone is so important to growth and overall development, whether it be mental, physical, or spiritual development. Going outside of your comfort zone is key. If you keep doing you and then on top of that, you cannot keep doing the same thing, right? Expecting a different result. If you want different results, you got to do something different, right? Cannot keep doing the same thing over and over, meaning going to the same places, hanging around the same tired, unmotivated, non-aspiring individuals, right? You can't keep hanging around the same old people, especially if these are not positive people. You got to do something different. You got to change it up. You got to change it up. So that's why I wanted to share that. I just want to just share a little bit with you guys about me and how my growth and my transformation began and how the journey has been, it's been rough. It has. But it was so worth it. So worth it. So at any rate, if this video or anything I said in it resonated with you and you can identify, please leave a comment or check out my Realizing Your Potential Facebook page, right? Or I have a Realizing Your Potential Facebook group as well, which is specifically for women who are committed to becoming a better version of themselves today than they were yesterday. And they're going to do whatever it takes. And they're not going to stop. They're going to be relentless. Or either, like I said, check out my website, which is realizingyourpotential123.com. So, again, everyone, thank you for those that have taken the time to listen. My name is Jacqueline Kabai Harrison, and I am a women's empowerment and self esteem coach for women of color. And thank you for joining me today. All right, ladies, have a wonderful evening.